You know, it's been 60 years since I was here last. 60 years, that's a long time.
Sure is.
There's the wall. And all those pocket marks from the bombardment, from the shelling.
You were up here when you were wounded. What happened?
The truth is, I don't know what happened. The shell exploded in my face and I got covered with shrapnel all over my body. I couldn't see. I thought I was blind.
The Israelis held on to Ramat Rachel, but the Arab Legion kept up the pressure on Jewish-controlled Jerusalem by cutting the supply route from Tel Aviv. To reopen it, the Israelis tried and failed repeatedly to take Latrun, a strong point on the Jerusalem road. The first time they thought it was defended by Palestinian irregulars. Instead, they faced well-dug-in professionals from the Arab Legion.
We were encountered by a tremendous fire of machine guns and mortars and so forth. The heat was absolutely about 40, 42 degrees and in the shadow. We didn't have enough water, of course, and people were hit all the time. Now, I myself, I was wounded first time in the morning. I got a bullet in my shoulder, and then about 10 o'clock I got another shrapnel in my chest. And the situation was hopeless, as far as we are concerned.
In Jerusalem's walled Old City, the Jewish quarter fell to the Arab Legion. Over 1,000 Jewish civilians lost their homes. Almost 23,000 Palestinians left districts of the city captured by Jewish forces during the war. The Legion kept the Jewish-controlled west of the city under siege, but never risked trying to capture it.
I think that people fired.
For the Israelis, the breakthrough was finding a cross-country route to ferry supplies and pump water that bypassed the Arab Legion's positions.
We assembled 13 jeeps. One of them belonged to Ben Gurion. We loaded them with about more than half a ton per jeep, medical supplies, ammunition, weapons. We knew exactly what the situation in Jerusalem is.
How important was it for the Jewish forces to hang on in Jerusalem?
It's unbelievable how people felt about Jerusalem. They knew that without Jerusalem there is no Jewish state.
On the southern front, the Egyptian army advanced north towards Tel Aviv, avoiding smaller Israeli settlements. But Kibbutz Yad Mordechai was too big to ignore. On the 24th of May, Egyptian armor and infantry attacked.
Here in front of me, I have no bullets and I have no rifles to reach them. I need a mortar, I need something. And I was very, very angry that I can't shoot. They're in front of me. And I can't do nothing because the distance is too wide. I have no rifle, I have no munition and no aims to defend myself or to attack them.
Outnumbered and out of ammunition, the Israeli forces had to retreat. But they had bought time to establish a defense line further north, where the Egyptians were stopped before they could reach Tel Aviv. After nearly a month's fighting, the United Nations secured a 4-week ceasefire. During the truce, both sides rearmed, but Israel had the edge, with big deliveries from Czechoslovakia of modern weapons, including heavy guns and aircraft. Although hugely outnumbered by Arabs in the Middle East, Israel was always able to mobilize more soldiers. It was now better equipped, organized, and motivated.
As far as you were concerned, it was a life or death struggle.
Absolutely. This was Israel's most fateful war. It was a case of to be or not to be.
When the ceasefire ended after a month, the Israelis were ready for what one of their top generals called a series of sharp, short, decisive, and victorious engagements. The priority was relieving the pressure on the Tel Aviv-Jerusalem axis. Lid and Ramleh, two adjoining Arab towns close to Tel Aviv, were the targets.
What happened here was one of the most controversial episodes of the entire war. The Israelis scored a major strategic victory. They secured Tel Aviv and the center of their new country. In the process, tens of thousands of Palestinian Arabs lost their homes, and hundreds of them lost their lives.
The Haganah killed dozens of Palestinians who were sheltering in a mosque.
Some of them just left their houses and found this place as a refugee, most of the families. And they thought that this is the way they are very safe in this place. The Haganah army, when they got inside the city, after fears of fighting between the Palestinians and the Haganah, they just came inside this mosque and they just killed all of the people inside here. Women, children, old people. All of them were shot. It was a big massacre.
Some of the residents were forced to bury the bodies.
The army took us to the mosque to take the dead to the cemetery. We entered one room. There were 60 or 70 bodies inside. Later they covered them with clothes and poured petrol and set them on fire. There was a woman dressed in peasant clothes. Next to her were two little girls. We carried them and put them over there. They were the only ones who had a proper burial.
There's a controversy over whether Ben-Gurion authorized the expulsions from Lid and Ramleh. The Israeli commander who signed the order believed that he had. More than 50,000 Palestinians were forced out.
It's not a secret anymore. It was called Shoalei Shimshon, the wool of Samson. With jeeps, with machine guns, it's not a secret anymore. Many things we did, we regret until today. We regret until today. And I think that, but in war you make mistakes. Anyhow, there was no clear order from Ben-Gurion how to deal with the inhabitants in an occupied village.
But could Israel have functioned with a big town like Ramleh, full of Arabs? Could you have built a state if you had that many Arabs living right in the center of the country?
No.
Many refugees died on the long walk to the Arab lines. The offensive ended with another UN truce. In 10 days of fighting, the Israeli general, Igal Alon, estimated that 20% of the effective Arab fighting force had been lost, and the War of Independence won, though not ended. In the remaining months of the war, there were more Israeli offensives, more Palestinians were forced out, and there were more ceasefires. Of the invaders, only the Arab Legion in Jerusalem and the West Bank could claim any success. The others were humiliated.
When the Second War came, it was not in favor of the Arabs. It was totally in favor of the Jews. Because there, the Jews were able to make victory in Naqab, in the south, and against the Syrians and Lebanese. We were left alone in the West Bank, defending ourselves.
By the time Israel seized the last corner of the Negev desert in March 1949, armistice talks had already started. Yad Mordechai was recaptured,